Oh, wow. Well,
Way off.
yeah, with all three of us here finally for the first time, I doubt it would be. So, welcome back, everyone. We're back for the Crowd Chatter podcast. I actually should be a little quieter. My family's trying to sleep probably by now. But welcome back, everybody, to the podcast. Me, Sam, and Serbensky are all here for the first time, and we'll be doing picks for week 3 for college football. Of course, we'll be starting it off with our upset picks of the week, I'm sorry, shockers of the week, which honestly, Cal, there is a lot of different games that we could choose from. I
I'm
mean,
gonna go first. I don't want anybody to steal one.
all right, well, Stravinsky wants to go first. What you got?
No, I don't think anyone would want to steal. I don't like picking this team. I never like picking this team. But give me Michigan State 5.5 at Miami. I don't trust Miami at all, and I kind of like this Michigan State team. I think they're pretty good. I think they're a pretty good team. I don't like picking Michigan State, but I also just do not think this Miami team is as good as it's hyped up to be. I know it's in Miami. App State almost beat them there last week. I don't know. I mean, Garrett King is good, but he's still coming off an injury. I think if they're going to lose a lot of games, they're going to lose early in the season. I mean, yeah, they lost to Alabama. I'm not really holding that against them. But I think that most of their losses are going to come early in the season. I think this is just one that can trip them up. It's an early game for Miami. Miami doesn't typically play well in the early games. So Michigan State's used to playing at noon. Maybe Michigan State can upset.
Honestly, that was one of the many I was thinking about, but that was probably the lowest one I was thinking about, like on the latter part of the totem pole.
I want that I'm pretty confident in that could safely get me 5 points because I need to start making up ground. I can't keep picking San Jose State negative 21.5 points. I can't do that again. I just need to start slowly chipping away. So give me a 5.5 for Michigan State.
Now, for me, there's a lot of different choices. So, you got one, Sam? You want to go before me, or?
You go
All right. Well, for
I'm
my
still kind of
pick
searching
this
mine out.
week, I'm looking at a lot of different games. This is one though I'm pretty confident on, and this seems like a pretty obvious one to choose, but I got Purdue beating Notre Dame. Notre Dame has been so bad to start off the year. They barely beat Florida State, who couldn't even beat Jacksonville State in week 2, and they barely beat Toledo's not a bad team per se, but especially since you're at home, you have no business only winning by 3 points against Toledo, and they had to drive down the field to be able to win that game. So I 100% have Purdue in what is going to be a rivalry renewal game against the Fighting Irish. I don't have faith in this Notre Dame team whatsoever. And this is a renewal of a rivalry game between these two teams. Purdue despises Notre Dame. Notre Dame ended their rivalry with Purdue because they wanted to schedule more conference games. You bet the Boilermakers are out for blood. Give me Purdue in this one.
Yeah, that's it's a pretty not really shocking because I feel like that'll be a really competitive game. I'm going to go a little bit out there. I'm going to take Fresno State over UCLA.
Ooh.
I really like how Fresno State has played the first 3 weeks. They only lost to Oregon by 7. Oregon's coming off a big win over Ohio State this week. But they crushed UConn. They crushed Cal Poly.
That's UConn, though.
I know. They're supposed to. But this Fresno State team actually doesn't look bad. You got their quarterback, Jake Hammers, he's already got over 1,000 yards in the year, and he's already got over a 60% completion percentage. So really, UCLA can stop the passing game. I think this one will really sneak up on UCLA because they're coming off of big wins over LSU, and then what they just beat.
They were on bye the last week, but they had beaten Hawaii.
Right. Exactly. They're coming off of bye, and they're coming to Fresno State. They could be looking ahead to Stanford, going to Stanford next week. So I think this one's going to trip them up. I think Fresno State's going to pick up the win here.
That was the other one I was considering too, but I went with
That one I
Purdue
was
Notre Dame
considering.
because I'm confident in that just being an upset because it's a 7 point spread according to ESPN, so that's the one I went with. Pretty confident with that. And since I had a 17.5 pointer last week, I got very lucky converting on that one. So I can be a little conservative here. Um, so let's start with our picks of the week now. And our first one is also another big renewal of a big rivalry. It will be a blowout, but it's Oklahoma versus Nebraska. These two teams were huge rivals quite a few years back when Nebraska was still in the Big 12. I believe this is the first time these two have played since Nebraska moved to the Big 10. However, I don't care how big of a rivalry this used to be. Give me Oklahoma by at least like 40 points. And Sam, you're up.
Yeah, I'll take Oklahoma too, but I wouldn't be so confident. Last time we said, I remember you said, give me the 49ers by at least 40 points over the line. So I'm just going to stay away from some outrageous claims. I'm just going to say Oklahoma's going to win.
I would say it's a pretty favorable spread for Oklahoma, only 22 points. I think that's probably top team, but I think 22 points. I think Oklahoma easily covers that spread. I think they win by like 24, 28, if not more. They have a really, really good offense, and their defense isn't that great, but Nebraska's offense also kind of stinks. So, yeah, give me the Sooners in that one. I don't trust Nebraska. So, yeah, give me the Sooners in that one.
Who wouldn't trust Nebraska? Let's just be honest here.
I mean, they lost to Art Sikowski's Illinois team that week one. So, I don't trust anyone that loses to that team.
All right, next is the Ohio State Buckeyes coming off the loss to the Oregon Ducks, going up against the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Tulsa lost to UC Davis. I'm sorry, I can't pick Tulsa whatsoever. I don't care how good people think Tulsa actually is, and they say that UC Davis game was a fluke. Tulsa sucks. They played Oklahoma State and made it close. I don't care. They're gonna get smoked by Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. Completely. I can't see back-to-back games, quite honestly. It's just not something that happens at Ohio State very often, especially again. And Tulsa doesn't look very good at all. So I'll take Ohio State as well.
Tulsa does not look good. Obviously, the UC Davis loss is bad. And then at Oklahoma State, I mean, they played pretty well, but Oklahoma State, I don't really trust too much in any rate. But, I mean, 26.5 point spread. Buckeyes are going to be out for blood after losing that game. They're going to be a lot of sense of urgency. I wouldn't be surprised if they're up by a crap ton at halftime, and then they bring out Quinn Ewers just to see what he can do. But yeah, give me Ohio State a blowout on that one. They'll definitely cover that 26.5. Tulsa is not good, and Ohio State, this is not the time you want to play Ohio State after a embarrassing loss at home.
All right, and next is the South Carolina Gamecocks going on the road to play the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, I believe it was 2 years ago, I think the last time South Carolina was in Georgia, they pulled the upset. So I think this could be an interesting game. I don't think Georgia loses this one whatsoever. I think they win pretty handily, but South Carolina, they're a sneaky team. The Gamecocks are always a sneaky team, so this could be interesting, but I think likely more than not, Georgia will probably blow them out.
Mm-hmm. Georgia being back at home in Athens. Actually, I don't know if they played at home last week. I'm just stating facts here. Georgia's back at home. South Carolina. They don't look like a very special team, like an upset type team from 2 years ago. But Georgia just showed too much in that first game. They showed they have a spectacular defense, and that's going to carry them to first SEC victory of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm picking Georgia in this one as far as the spread. I don't know if I'm rushing to bet on just because as good as Georgia is, and I mean they blew out UAB last week. I know they're not a team that scores a crap ton of points very often, but I definitely say South Carolina is not good enough to beat this Georgia team in Athens. So I mean, give me Georgia in a pretty handy way.
All right, and next is the USC Trojans after they have now fired Clay Helton, which was long overdue. USC going up against the Washington State Cougars on the road. Here's another sneaky game with a possibility of an upset. USC now is going to have a interim head coach with Clay Helton now out of the program. I think Washington State could win this game. However, I don't think they will win this game. I think USC rebounds after an embarrassment last week against Washington State. They beat the Cougars.
Thing for sure. USC has to look to new leadership now, but I'm not really sure how much of the coaching Clay Helton did before, honestly. And now they got to look to their head coach. In Washington State, they're coming in hungry, ready to go. This one's at Washington State, right? Yeah, this is a road game for USC, so hostile environment in Washington State. I think I will take the Cougars on this one.
Oh, see, I don't like Washington State's team. I don't like Demora. I don't like anything about this Washington State team. I don't also really like this SC team, especially after what I saw from last week. But I think USC is the better program, has the better talent. I wouldn't be shocked to see an upset. I just don't really like Washington State that much. 8.5-point spread. Basically, that means you're gonna have to, if you win by even more than a touchdown, you're basically passing that. So I think SC covers on that, though. That's one that I don't know. I don't want to root for, but it's just Washington State. Martin Stadium is a nice stadium, but just not as hostile as another environment as we want it to be to upset a really good team, a pretty good team. So I think I'll take USC in that one, but would not be surprised.
All right, and then we got Fresno State going on the road against UCLA. Now, this is Sam's obviously shocker of the week. Definitely would be a shocker of the week. But UCLA, I do believe Fresno State has a chance of pulling it off. I think there is a possibility of it, but I have too much faith in the Bruins. I think they'll have a solid win in this one. It might be close, but I believe the Bruins will pull it off. And I'm thinking you might pick the same thing as your shocker, Sam.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Bruins.
Okay.
All right.
I just need to find a shocker real quick.
Fair enough.
Like I did last week with USC over Stanford, and then pulled it off. It worked.
UCLA favored by 11.5. It's in UCLA. I think they cover it. I think as much as I like this Fresno State team, I think the main reason they really caught Oregon off guard was because that was Oregon's first game of the year, whereas Fresno State played in 8-0. So I'm not trying to take things away from Fresno State, but I think they just got a little bit of help with that there. I think UCLA is the better team. I think UCLA is the second best team in the Pac-12 from what I've seen thus far from everybody else. Obviously, Oregon is the clear favorite, but I think UCLA is probably number 2 in that list. And definitely, I think the best in the South. But it was contested between UCLA and USC, but now it's more clearly UCLA after last week. So give me UCLA in this one, and give me the cover. I believe they'll win by 14 or 17. So give me the cover there, 11.5.
Oh my gosh, I don't think this Baltimore Las Vegas game is going to end. I think the Raiders are about to kick a field goal. If you guys don't know, Monday night game, Baltimore Ravens and Las Vegas Raiders are currently playing. There's 7 seconds left, and the Raiders are in field goal range, so maybe it might go to overtime. But back to this.
Spoiling it for me, Mitchell.
That's a far field goal.
Carlson could kick it. Anyways, Utah versus San Diego State. This is a really sneaky one. This is going to be a really good one. I'm curious to see how Utah responds. after a loss to BYU. And I think the Utes will prevail. I think they'll sneak out of San Diego State with the win. I would not be surprised if this went the other direction, but I think the Utes survive and rebound after the loss.
55 yards, you got it.
Yep, it's in.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I was waiting. I thought I knew Sam was.
Suspense is ruined.
All right, what's your pick, Sam?
I'll just pick San Diego State for the heck of it. No. I like the home team in this matchup. Wait, it is San Diego State, right?
Utah, San Diego State, yeah.
Yeah, it's at San Diego State. Utah's coming off a loss. San Diego State's coming off a.
They beat Arizona.
They bombed Arizona 38-10.
That's not
Shows me up for picking Arizona to beat BYU week 1.
It's Arizona? Ooh, I've never picked Arizona, and I live in Arizona.
Oh, because you've got Arizona State. I would almost never pick Michigan State if I wanted to, but I know you already picked Michigan State earlier.
See, I don't care. I go to both ASU and U of A games because I don't have that rivalry. I just know U of A is absolute garbage. They are a dumpster fire of a team.
Their defensive coordinator is also Don Brown, so.
Oh, there you go.
Their quarterback's name is Gunner. So, yeah.
I'm picking San Diego State. That's all.
I like the way he thinks. I like San Diego State. I don't think they'll win this one. I think Utah is the better team. Corey Brewer's the better quarterback. Coming off a loss on the road in a rivalry game against BYU, Utah is furious, and I always like these teams after they're coming off of a furious loss. It's in San Diego State, which makes me a little nervous, but I think Utah wins. State covers. I think this is kind of a low scoring, like 31, like 20, 28, 24, 31, 28, kind of a low scoring, like field goal type game, but giving the Utes in a close one. But I think San Diego State, I don't think Utah covers. I think San Diego State wins that one.
And we head to overtime in Las Vegas.
Did you say a low scoring is 31 to 28?
Low scoring. Okay, I've also just been doing my stat sheets for the Big 12, so I've been used to plugging in like 44 to 41.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I'm just registering like that as my games and my regularness.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it'll more be probably like 27, 24, maybe even 24, 21. But I think it'll be 20s. San Diego State has that opportunity to go in the 30s, though. You never know with them.
That sounds about right to me.
What we got up next?
All right, next we have Tulane going on the road to play Ole Miss. Tulane almost pulled off the upset week 1 against Oklahoma. Honestly, this is an interesting one. I am very curious to see if Tulane can pull off the win against Ole Miss. Ole Miss has no defense whatsoever, but Lane Kiffin knows his offense. He's very good on the offensive end. Now, I did pick against Lane Kiffin in week 1. I picked Louisville to beat Ole Miss for my shocker of the week. That didn't go as planned. You know what? I'll go with Ole Miss. I feel like I'm going to regret that, but I'm going to go with Ole Miss. I think the Ole Miss offense I think this will be a shootout, and I think Ole Miss will outshoot Tulane. Oops.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Ole Miss as well. I really think that first week with Tulane and Oklahoma was just what Jacob was saying earlier. Is their first week, both their teams' first week, they're both getting their legs wet. They're both getting, or not their legs wet, their feet wet. That's the saying. Out in the water, their first time playing for almost a year. And I think Ole Miss has found their footing quicker, and they're going to beat Tulane. Yes.
It's gonna be a shootout, though. I mean, you know it's gonna be a shootout when the over/under is set at 74. Definitely gonna be like in the 40s. Tulane can score some points. Ole Miss, we've obviously seen, can score some points. Ole Miss, 14 points against the spread. I take Ole Miss to win this game. That's one that I'm like risky to bet because I feel like it's going to be like a 17-point game. So I think I'll take Ole Miss to cover. But that push insurance at 14 is nice. I mean, that push insurance with that 14 would really, really help. But yeah, that's just if you want to bet. But if you're just self-squarely picking, I think Ole Miss is the better team, and I'll take Ole Miss at home.
All right, and next up is Purdue versus Notre Dame. Now, this is my shocker of the week. I'm sticking with the Purdue Boilermakers. I have no faith in Notre Dame. I have no faith in Jack Cohn. I have Purdue upsetting Notre Dame, taking them out of the top 25. I don't really have much more to say. Just Notre Dame has looked terrible, and I don't see them really beating Purdue. I think the Boilermakers have it in them to knock them off. Over to you, Sam.
I honestly haven't been impressed with Purdue either, though, thus far. I think this will definitely be a really evenly matched game, though. But I think Notre Dame will eke it out in the end, just like they did with Toledo last week, solely for the reason that they're at home. Even though it's not like a far distance game for Purdue and Notre Dame to be playing, but just for the sole reason of them being at home, I think Notre Dame has the crowd on their side, so that they'll be able to usher in a last minute touchdown or field goal if necessary, and I think Notre Dame pulls it out.
I was thinking Purdue, but I know Purdue's not the greatest on the road. I mean, they're pretty good. They're really good at home. They have the chance to pull off upsets at home, but I just know they're not very good on the road. I mean, they did win on the road at UConn, but UConn is in the running for worst FBS program, along with like Akron. Like it's like Akron and UConn are like neck and neck, and then maybe like the Bowling Greens and the UMass of the world. But another thing that hurts Purdue is Xander Horvath, their super senior running back, out 4 to 8 weeks. Not only is that one of probably their best running back, but a huge senior leader on their team. So that's gonna hurt them. Like you said, I think these are pretty evenly matched teams from what I've seen thus far. Notre Dame hasn't looked too good, but they've also, I think, played better teams than Purdue has. I think it's going to be a good one. I think Purdue has the chance to go in there and upset them, but just with how I know Purdue does not play good on the road, I think I'm going to give this one to Notre Dame. It's going to be pretty close. I think Purdue's probably going to cover that, or Purdue's probably going to win that spread. I don't think Notre Dame's going to cover 7. I think it's going to be, like I said, a 34-point win. It's going to be a close game, but I don't know if I trust Purdue on the road.
All right, so Serbensky picks Notre Dame, and we move to the next game, which is the Virginia Cavaliers taking on 21st ranked North Carolina. This is an interesting one. Really, a lot of these Week 3 games are very interesting ones to pick. This is one of them. North Carolina did not look very good against Virginia Tech, obviously. They could not catch the football. I didn't watch their game against Georgia State. I think they blew them out. I think this could go either way. I'm going to give the edge to the Tar Heels at home, but don't be surprised if the Virginia Cavaliers take the upset and knock off Mac Brown and the Tar Heels and push them out of the top 25.
Sorry, I was just in awe of this last play.
The Raiders play? Ah, yes.
Yeah, I thought he stepped out of bounds for sure. I guess he did. Anyway, for this game, it will definitely be interesting for sure. For Virginia coming off the blowout win over Illinois, and North Carolina coming out of they're both coming off a blowout victories.
There you go.
For both these teams. But I give North Carolina the slight advantage. It's different now again this year. Now that fans are back and they're back in stadiums, the crowd has an effect on teams now again. Once again, they now have an effective team. So I give the slight advantage to the home team in this one, to North Carolina.
Yeah, this is probably my secondary pick for Shocker of the Week. I'm going to go with North Carolina. I was very, very impressed with Virginia last week. Okay, I also picked them. I picked Illinois as my shocker of the week, but that was because I thought Brandon Peters was playing. And as soon as I found out Brandon Peters wasn't playing, yeah, that I knew they were going to lose. But that Virginia offense looked really, really good. They were running a lot of plays. They just, I don't know, they looked really, really fun, and I loved watching them. I think they have a chance to pull an upset here in Chapel Hill, but I think North Carolina already has so much pressure on it losing week 1 to Virginia Tech. They've got on them, so at home against Virginia, they know. But I think again, Virginia's going to win this spread. It's a 9-point spread, so give me Virginia in the spread, but give me North Carolina overall in the game.
And me and Sam are 11-5. Raiders won. Cincinnati. Oh, I forgot. Cincinnati versus Indiana. I keep forgetting Sam's behind. Cincinnati versus Indiana. Huh? Yeah. The Cincinnati Bearcats take on the Indiana Hoosiers. Here is a very sneaky game. He might be. I don't know. But this is going to be a really good one. I'm very excited for this matchup. Indiana has a chance, especially at home. I'm going to give this to Cincinnati, but I badly want to pick Indiana, but I can't after seeing that game they played against Iowa. Now Iowa looked really good against the Cyclones, but I don't know if I can pick Indiana against Cincinnati. I'm going to go with the Hoosiers, but this could go either way.
I'm happy.
I know you're happy.
The AFC West, they're all 1-0 after this week.
The West are just amazing.
Both Wests are 1-0.
Yeah. The 49ers almost weren't, but yeah. Oh, no, he's down. He's short. It's going to be first and goal. Anyway. So down. Oh, the Cincinnati and Indiana. Yes. Cincinnati. And I just didn't like how Indiana looked against Iowa. It just showed signs of the past, signs of Indiana showing weakness, and I think Cincinnati will be rewarded for finally scheduling some tougher non-conference games, and especially them going to get into the Big 12 eventually. And I think Cincinnati takes this one.
Yeah, the big X factor for me with Indiana this season was how's Penix going to do. And Penix is, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Penix is not look great. It is in Indiana, which is a little bit concerning for Cincinnati, but I think Cincinnati wins this one. I think they definitely cover the spread. The spread's only 3.5 points. All they have to do is win by more than a field goal, which I think it's like a 4 to 7 point game. I think Cincinnati's about 4 to 7 points better than Indiana on at least a neutral field, so it could be, but I think Cincinnati wins this one. They're very tight, very fun game.
All right, next one is the Michigan State Spartans against the Miami Florida Hurricanes. This is another really good game. I expect this to be very close. I think the Hurricanes have a chance. I think the Spartans have a chance of winning this game. Hurricanes, they got rolled over by Bama. So does everybody else, but they got rolled over by Bama. They struggled against Appalachian State, almost lost that game. So you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm taking Michigan State. I don't think the Hurricanes have not looked good. They struggle against my Appalachian State. Michigan State is a sneaky good team. They're very good at running the football, and it becomes very difficult for teams to stop that running game. And their receiving core is not that bad. They have a decent defense, so. Yeah, I'll give this to the Spartans. I think they can pull it off. I'll give it to Michigan State.
Yep.
it to Michigan State as well. Just for the same reason that I've been given for Miami's supposed to be 0-2 right now, I think. Every single year, everybody thinks they're going to be, this year, Clemson this year. They get to challenge Clemson. And Dietrich King, like Jacob said earlier, coming off the injury, hasn't looked the same. And Michigan State, they looked really good against Northwestern, and they look like a pretty solid team this year. Can't wait for that Michigan State-Michigan matchup. But Michigan State will win this one in Miami.
It would be a big win for them.
Oh, no, for sure. My big X factor in this game is Kenneth Walker. Ran all over Northwestern. I mean, first, huge play.
Raiders false start.
Man. But Kenneth Walker is the big X factor in this game. I don't like Miami very much. De'Aaron King just does not look the same off the end. Peyton Thorne is a good enough passer to go with Kenneth Walker. Mel Tucker, as much as I do not like him for what he did in Colorado and the fact that he goes to Michigan State, is so yeah. I picked him for my shot for the week, and I'm going to pick him as my actual pick. Give me the Spartans in this one.
All right, all three of us take the upset, and we go
I guess my sucker of the week wasn't really the second.
Oh, my goodness.
And now the next game is Maryland on the road. Maryland on the road against Illinois. This is a Friday night game. So this is an interesting one. Obviously, Tua's brother with the Maryland Terrapins. Tua elite. Did they just turn it over? Oh my gosh, they really turned it over.
I'm going to go cry.
They just turned it over. Oh my gosh.
It popped off his helmet.
No.
Oh, just wait till you see it.
Oh no. Oh, that's bad. He just threw it off the guy's helmet. Oh.
I feel so bad. I'll be baby now.
All right.
Anarchy. This is the time to nix them. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, Sam said earlier that we were going to kick him out of the chat. Looks like we did.
More like the Raiders kicked him out of the chat.
Yeah, something like that, but anyway.
Sam, we did the AFC West video while you were gone. I'm like, it's probably a good thing that we're doing the AFC West without him here because we'd just be ripping into him and be like, yeah. We'd be like ripping into the Raiders and we'd just be in the corner just, unfortunately. Yeah. Oh, man.
Anyways, we have Maryland on the road against Illinois. I think this is an interesting game. If Peters is healthy, I think Illinois has a chance, but I think Maryland wins this one. Maryland's got a good team. They got a good coach. I think the Terrapins will knock off Illinois in this one. I have faith in the Terrapins do it. I like Maryland's team this year.
I'm going to take faith in Illinois. Who cares? I'm sure everybody can beat Nebraska. Sorry if I have a little tone in my voice right now.
If Brandon Peters plays, I think Illinois can at least get in the spread. I think even with Peters playing, I think Maryland is a better team. I still think I don't know if Maryland's going to be a bowl team necessarily. I think they have a better chance to be a bowl team since they beat West Virginia early on. I mean, the spread's 7.5, so I think if Sikowski plays, I think this is at least a 2-touchdown game, potentially 2.5. I just think Tagovailoa is a better quarterback than both Peters and Sikowski, and I think Maryland has a slightly better team. I think Illinois would make it close if Peters played because they're at home, but yeah, doing the Terrapins in this one.
All right, and next is Oklahoma State Oklahoma State heading on the road to play the Boise State Broncos.
Give me the blue turf. I don't like Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State heads to the blue turf for this one. Spencer Sanders is back for Oklahoma State. He played in the last game against Tulsa. This is 50-50. Who knows who will win this game? Boise State just for some has the blue field obviously, which I'd think trips up everybody. But this will be an interesting game. I'm going to give the edge to the Broncos. I think this is going to be just as important to Oklahoma State as it is Boise State, but Boise State has an opportunity to beat a Power 5 team. I don't think Boise State loses that opportunity. I give this one to the Broncos in a close one. As Sam dies in pity.
Yeah. Please stop. Please. Didn't Boise State lose to UCF?
Yes, they did. They blew their 21-point lead.
Same thing's happening here. Although Oklahoma State only beat Tulsa by 5, so.
And they beat Montana State by only 7.
Oh wow! Yeah, no, I'm gonna take Boise State now.
You see my point.
I see it.
I don't know. I just don't think Oklahoma State's that good of a team. I mean, they're a really, really young team. I think Boise State's a better team in general. I think Boise State is 7 points better than Oklahoma State, and they're at home. Notre is going to mess them up. I think Boise State 4.5 points spread. I think that's very favorable to Oklahoma State, being very, very, very favorable to Oklahoma State. I think Boise State easily covers that. They win by 7, absolutely 10. But give me Boise State.
I wouldn't be surprised if this game ended at a tie.
It looks like we'd all be getting a tie then in our records for week 1. Oh, wow.
All right, what's our next game?
Seriously, did he? Oh, wow. Yeah, it might be a tie. So our
Northwestern at Duke. Northwestern at Duke is our next
yes,
game.
Northwestern on the road against the Duke Blue Devils. Give me Northwestern. I think this could be a decent game, but honestly, I think Northwestern is way better than the way they played against Michigan State. You know, in that game against Michigan State, they're on the Spartan side of the field 6 times. They only scored 3 times. So if they finish drives, this team is really good, which that's the problem, obviously. But playing against a Duke team, I got Northwestern, but this could be interesting. This game is taking way too long, but this game should be interesting. I'll give it to Northwestern. No, I think they win it close.
I will take Northwestern as well. I don't like Duke at all. Basketball, football, anything. I don't like Duke. So I'm going to take Northwestern. And I legitimately think they are the better team, too. And the Raiders recovered a fumble. Okay. I'm happy again.
There you go, Sam.
This is such a toss-up because Northwestern's offense is so absolutely atrocious. This is my thing with Northwestern. I feel like if a team scores at least 24 points against them, wrap it up. Northwestern wins the football game. They can't score that much. But I think stat sheets when I made this, I made it 28-26 Duke or Northwestern. That was before I picked that before the pickup, before the Michigan State game. I think I'm gonna take Duke 21-17. I think I'm gonna take Duke in this one. I think it's a very much a toss-up game. Both teams are bad. Both teams are very bad. But give me Duke in this one. As I readjust my stat sheet.
All right, and now we have Minnesota on the road taking on Colorado. This will actually be at Colorado, unlike the last one, which was at the Broncos Stadium. So the Gophers head into Colorado. This is a 50-50 game. This could go either way. Gophers are they have a good offense. They don't have any kind of defense. I think Minnesota has the offense to beat Colorado. I don't think they have the defense, and that's why I'm giving Colorado the slight edge here. In the win. So I'll give this one to Colorado. Over to you, Sam.
I really think this is going to be a good game, honestly. Um, I know watching Colorado and Texas A&M, that was a fun game to watch. Now Minnesota into Colorado. I feel like for some reason this game was meant to happen. I feel like these teams are just so evenly matched in every aspect that I would give the slight edge to Colorado. Just I think they're a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball, so I will give that one to Colorado at home.
Yeah, I think Colorado is a slightly better team, but I think I'm gonna go with the Gophers, mainly because of the fact that it's a 1:00 game. And I don't know what it is. There's something about Pac-12 teams that like noon 1:00 games that are just okay. Did they actually win this time?
I think
They actually win this time.
Okay, you guys saw it now too. Yeah, I was like, what the heck? The guy's in the middle of nowhere.
Wasted like 7.5 minutes to have the exact same thing happen. Almost from the exact same spot of the field too. Oh my goodness. That was a waste of time. Okay, but I think it's close. I think I'm gonna take Minnesota in this one. It could go either way. It's very much a toss-up, and I'm specifically taking Minnesota in this one just because of the time it takes place. Because I think Colorado at night, give me Colorado all day, but I think Colorado at 10:00.
Wait, hold on. Did we listen to the statement that you just said? Sorry. You said if it's at night, give me Colorado all day.
Give me Colorado all night, but if it's give me Minnesota, also could go either way.
So with that Raiders win, me and Sam are both 11-5 now, and poor Stravinsky goes down to 7-9. Never let me pick the favorites for you ever again, Stravinsky. Actually make the picks. But our next game on here is another Friday night game. UCF heading on the road to take on Louisville. I am very excited for this game because this is huge for the Golden Knights and Gus Malzahn as the head coach. Obviously, UCF now with an opportunity on the road to beat a Power 5 program. Boise State was not a Power 5 program, but that was a big win for UCF. Here's another huge opportunity for the Golden Knights, and you know what? Give me the Golden Knights. I like UCF in this matchup. I think they have a good team. They have a good head coach. I love Gus Malzahn. I'm giving this one to the Golden Knights. I want them to win, and I think they can take it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm going to go with the Golden Knights, too. I'm not trying to mirror you, Mitchell, in every single pick, but you really are making my picks for me. Pretty much. What I saw from Louisville when they played Ole Miss was not very special or exciting. Oh, wow, that's a great moment. There were Raiders and Ravens praying together at the end of the game. That's pretty awesome. Anyway, I like the Golden Knights in this one. I really think Louisville is not very special, not very impressive, especially after that game against Ole Miss. And this really is a booster for UCF, as they are also another team potentially going into the Pac-12 coming up here soon. So
Big 12.
This ready. Oh, did it? I said Pac-12. I'm sorry. That would not make any sense at all. They're going to the Big 12. And I just like UCF. I just do.
Yeah, I'm giving UCF in this one too. I just think UCF's a better team. It being in Cardinal Stadium, I think I'll take Louisville to win that spread. It's only a 7-point spread, so push. What's the word?
Shove?
No. Push safety. Something. Push safety is helping me out there, so I think I'll take Louisville on that one. I think they can win. I think they can at least keep it a touchdown game, but I think UCF wins the overall game.
All right, and our next one, we're on to the last four here. Our next one is a big rivalry. Virginia Tech on the road against West Virginia. This is a hard game to pick because this is a huge rivalry. Virginia Tech is on a high note right now. West Virginia at home taking on their big rival. I'm tempted to take West Virginia here, and you know what? I'll do it. I'll take the Mountaineers to upset the Hokies. I think Virginia Tech has a decent team, but West Virginia at home is going to be a tough challenge for Virginia Tech, and I think the Hokies have a decent team, but I think the Mountaineers will be. I think the Mountaineers get the edge at home in this one.
Um, I disagree.
There you go.
I think Virginia Tech the favorite in this one to pick up the victory. Was really impressed with their victory over North Carolina week 1, and they've just kept the momentum going. And West Virginia doesn't look like the offensive firepower is there for West Virginia. I think Virginia Tech will slow them down quite a bit, and it'll be a lower scoring game. And I think that plays to Virginia Tech's
favor.
Thank you. Wow. That plays to Virginia Tech's favor. So I think I'm going to go with Virginia Tech.
Technically, according to the spread, West Virginia is the favorite in this one, according to ESPN.
Oh my gosh, they are. What?
Wow.
All right.
It's because West Virginia's at home. According to ESPN's FPI, Virginia Tech's 57.5% chance to win that football game, but West Virginia is a 3-point favorite. I think I will take West Virginia in this one too. It's very, very close. I think the only fact that I'm taking West Virginia's at home. They obviously had that loss to Maryland early in the season, and they need to make up for that if they want to make that push in a very competitive Big 12 conference. If they want to make that push for a bowl game at least, I think West Virginia can easily make a bowl game, but I think this is the first step towards making that. So give me West Virginia in a pretty close one. That's a really hard line to pick because I think it's going to be a 3-point game. So I guess give me West Virginia over because there's no way that Virginia Tech there's not very much chance that Virginia Tech, if they win by like 2 points. That's not a very likely chance, or lose by 2 points. So I would say give me West Virginia on the spread and the win.
All right, and now we have Slubensky's Arizona State Sun Devils on the road taking on BYU. BYU new the rankings at number 23. This is going to be another really good game, and this is another hard one to choose. BYU coming fresh off a win against their big rivals in Utah. Arizona State coming off their win after a slow start against UNLV. Just a note on Arizona State. Their little art at the 50-yard line in their game against UNLV, absolutely incredible. That was really awesome seeing the 9/11 lettering with the two twin towers sitting pretty much right on top of the Arizona State logo at midfield. That was really awesome. But I'm going to go with Arizona State. I could see BYU taking this game, but I think the Sun Devils are the better overall team. I think BYU makes a push at home, but I give the Sun Devils the edge.
This is a very tough game to choose because I don't feel like going against BYU again after I did back in week 1. Because I had to go against
Christ.
No, it's interesting. This is Arizona State's first game as well. So it's really the first time of the Pac-12. Even though BYU is not in the Pac-12, top 25 team.
They'll go to Big 12 soon. Maybe.
Right. So many teams moving around.
I still think I still think Memphis should have been a Big 12 team, and then the Pac-12 extends to 14. And if they wanted to extend to 14, they could have taken BYU and Boise.
Boise State. That was a lot of the conversations.
Memphis.
Yeah.
The conference is just it's nothing at this point.
No, it doesn't even exist anymore unless Wichita State that comes to the third conference.
There you go.
Anyway, BYU is definitely playing all Pac-12 teams so far. They played Arizona, played Utah.
Not Arizona State.
They also played USC later in the year and Washington State from the Pac-12. So it'll be, man, this is really hard to choose. Do I go against me or do I go against my own logic? I don't know.
Well, you think I'll make it easy. ASU for sure. Jaden Daniels is the better quarterback. This is still a very, very young BYU team. A good BYU team, don't get me wrong. But I'm also not super high in Utah as many people are. And they played Arizona at home and only won like 23-16.
Well, that was a neutral site game. That was in Las Vegas.
Oh,
That was at Raider Stadium.
Yeah, Legion Stadium.
They played very close with Arizona, whereas ASU, I know it's last year, but ASU's last game against U of A, they won 70-7. So, I think ASU or maybe even 10 points. I like BYU at home, but I just think ASU is the better team. That might sound like a homer pick, but I just think ASU is a little bit better than them. I don't know. I don't fully trust BYU just yet. I mean, they got an upset against Utah. So that's something crazy.
I don't know. But, yeah, that's how close this game is going to be.
28-27.
This is going to come right down to the wire. Might even come down to the final play. I watch this game.
Well, it's the 10:15 game. It'll be late at night.
Mm-hmm.
10-15 for me.
Well, yeah, 10:15 for me, 9:15 for you, Sam.
Yep.
And we now have the Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the Florida Gators in Gainesville. I'm sorry, Florida. Bama is going to blow you out. I honestly, I think Florida has a decent overall team. Their quarterback has not looked good. They've kind of been a little sluggish in their first two games. Bama's wiping out everybody. They now go to Gainesville. You bet Alabama's going to be really excited for this game. I don't think Nick Saban lets Bama down for a second. Bama wins this one very easily.
Yeah, I really haven't been impressed with Florida thus far. They've gotten especially last week, they only won by 20 points to UCLA. Alabama being overrated, nonetheless. At this point,
31.
It's which makes this people alive, but not Alabama. Doesn't not Alabama. Yes, they get. I'll be rooting for Florida the whole time. But I really can't see Alabama losing this game.
I mean, if Florida's quarterback steps up, they might be able to cover and at least cover that spread against Alabama. But I just think Alabama's a better team. I think this is one of Alabama's toughest tests, but I still think Alabama is at least 2 to 3 football tiers above Florida. Florida's a really good team this year. I just think they've struggled early, but unfortunately, they get their biggest game early. I still think it'll be at least a decently. I think it'll be a close game at the first half. I think maybe they'll be making Alabama fans sweat at halftime, but then they're just going to do the Alabama thing where they come out in the second half and just pull away pretty easily. They'll let Florida tire themselves out trying to beat them in the first half and then just kick their butts in the second half. So give me Alabama in this one, and I think 1/2 game.
I didn't know Alabama fans could sweat.
Remember when they played the Citadel and were losing 10-7 at halftime?
Oh, yeah, I remember that game now.
Yeah, it didn't last very long. But now we have the game of the week. Now, I do game of the week basically based on where College Game Day is, which College Game Day is heading to Penn State. Therefore, game of the week is the Auburn Tigers heading to the having the Happy Valley in the whiteout known as Penn State. Penn State looked decent.
The whiteout's back.
Yeah, the whiteout will be back. Fans are back. Penn State's going to be going wild. You know they'll be going wild. Auburn coming to town. Penn State, they look decent against Wisconsin. That was the game of defense. It was not a game of offense. And then Penn State beat Ball State really handily, which Cervensky got the score dead on. He was perfect on that score.
Or 44-13.
Perfect dead on the mark.
One for 50. I'm getting.
Yeah, exact scores. Oh boy. Not easy.
But the last pick here, this is hard to choose. I mean, Sam was spending a lot of time talking about Arizona State BYU would win.
I don't like Auburn. I don't think Bo Nix is that good. Give me Penn State at least by a touchdown and a half. At least by 10 points. I'm very confident in Penn State. In a whiteout, Auburn is not as good as Penn State. Penn State's a better team. And they're at home in a whiteout crowd. Game day is going to be there. Historically, they're great when game day is there. Penn State in this one. I think they win by at least 10 points. We're pretty confident in that one.
Yeah, I think Auburn will give Penn State a lot of trouble because I don't think Auburn's that special, but I don't think Penn State's as good as people believe either. But I will give this to Penn State because of the whiteout, because of how crazy that crowd can be. I think Bo Nix will make it close for Auburn. I think this will be a game that goes down to the wire. I think this is a must-watch on ABC primetime, as this will be the 7:30 game. But I think Penn State will have the slight edge and Auburn will make it very close.
Yeah, I think I will side with Cervensky on this one. I'm not very impressed with Auburn either. Played Alabama State and
Akron.
Yeah,
Akron is one of the worst FBS teams.
We're already putting them all the way down there with UConn, Akron, and then Alabama State. Who knows how bad they are? Truly. But
Not as Akron.
Yeah. They're FCS though, right?
I think Alabama State's part of the Sun Belt.
Are you?
I'm checking, but I think maybe. I'm checking though. But continue on.
Yeah, I'm not really impressed with Auburn's victories. Penn State going into
No, that's Alabama State. Southern Alabama's the FBS team.
Yep. Southern Alabama. Mm-hmm. But I was impressed with the way that Penn State was able to put up a defensive battle in Wisconsin. Very tough to win there. But I am with Mitchell. I don't really think that Penn State is very good either. I just think because of the whiteout, because of the hype, because of everything is literally going Penn State's way for this game. It's all set up for them to be successful, just like it was when they were when they played Ohio State in prime time and they upset them back in.
Gosh, I remember that game. That was so long ago.
It was. I don't know which year, 16, 17, one of those years.
16.
No, yeah, it was before that. It's probably 15.
I think it was 15. 15, because 15 was the crazy year. That was the year where Michigan State went to the playoffs. They blocked their punt, and I think Michigan State beat Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then got shut out 38-0 by Alabama.
As does.
Yeah. Unless the Clemson for those.
I believe the first two teams that made it into the college football playoff for the Big Ten both got shut out, being Michigan State and Ohio State. Neither one of them scored a single point. They lost 38-0 and 31-0.
It just shows how
But Sam picks Penn State.
yes.
Well, those are our picks.
Yeah, that is all for us. So that is it for this episode. Thank you all for listening. If you want to see the latest video, click on the left side over here. If you want to see our other college football episodes, click right over here. If you want to subscribe, hit right in the middle. But that will be all for us on this one. We will see you on the next video, which will be NFL picks for week 2. Adios, everyone.
Peace.